All right, people, what up? We're back with another episode of Fun and Truth in Black and White with Pat and Jay. Pat, exciting times, man.
Lots going on. Today we're talking about fadeaways and rejections.
That's right. And we're going to start with the NFL. Eli Manning, fadeaway. Jones comes in. And Saquon Barkley goes out. What's the deal?
Saquon Barkley is a beast. He's great, dynamic. He'll be okay. Daniel Jones can play, and there's something to be said about when you've got nothing to lose. Very low expectations, but he has a lot of confidence. I have an issue with the balance sheet. Like, they spent a lot of money on somebody that they could have drafted him later. And I'm not saying he's not worth the money. What I'm saying is he wasn't on anyone else's radar. So they could have spent millions less. That's relevant because they could have applied those millions to other positions that are porous, like the defense. That being said, just football-wise, he's doing his thing, and he's ready to go. Happy for him. Good luck to him. Financially, how they handled the salary cap, I don't see what direction they're going. Like, for example, this year, we're literally paying Odell Beckham Jr. to play for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
If you decide you want to trade him. But you don't trade him after you give him the bag of money. This doesn't make any sense.
Right, and then hand over the cash to somebody else.
Correct. But Daniel Jones, in the world, if no one gives you a chance or judges you before you had an opportunity to prove yourself or not, that's not cool. So I hope he does well, but the Giants will be paying for that selection of him at number 6 for a while.
So I'm going to run a slant on this one. And, fadeaways in basketball is an incredible shot because you're literally jumping away from the defender, shooting, without having a real chance at the basket.
And pause, for the non-ball players listening, if you can't shoot the shot, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage.
That's right.
But if you perfect the shot,
it's an incredible advantage.
You're unguardable.
That's
and
right.
It's important because it's something that not everybody can do.
Exactly. And my point behind this is that, Saquon Barkley is still, an up-and-comer in the league. He is still establishing himself. And, an injury like this obviously slows him down a little bit. But if he sticks with it, he's going to have an incredible career. Daniel Jones, I think, again, under the guidance of an Eli Manning and having a Saquon Barkley, could also have an exceptional career. Where the rejection is for me is the Giants management. And this is also, you're going to look at teams across the league with the same philosophy that I think that you just really, hit the nail on the head with, in terms of understanding that management in the NFL, from the general management, the higher level, is really about the balance sheet and, the bottom line. And it's something where not only are you value shopping, but you're trying to find the diamonds in the rough. You're not trying to take something and make it a diamond even if it isn't. And I think the issue with Daniel Jones is he may be a great quarterback. There's no question that he has an opportunity. But the reality is that by drafting him in the first round as they did, he is now a shiny, polished diamond, or looks that way. And he may wind up being rejected, not because he's not a good player, but because the expectation on him.
Yeah, it's all about the return on the investment.
Exactly. And I blame management for that, not
Correct.
the player.
Correct.
So I would love to go on with this, but unfortunately, Pat, we have such juicy news. Nancy Pelosi decided that she's had enough, and she stuck her middle finger up at the White House and said, "Yo, Uncle Peach Fuzz, it's time for you to get out."
Yeah, I mean, she went all the way in.
Yes. And she took her time doing it. So the thing about it for me And why this is really juicy now is because there were lots of opportunities to jump the gun and call for impeachment. And they waited on the Mueller report, even though everybody was chomping at the bit. And there were all these other things that, I think the emoluments about, he's getting money from his businesses when he's not supposed to, and everybody's paying tributes to him. And, I give Nancy credit. In other words, she didn't bow to the pressure, but now she sees an opportunity to really block this guy's shot.
Did she fade away, or did she dunk the ball in traffic?
No. I think she literally blocked his dunk. In other words,
He came to the cup, and she rejected
dude thinks he's got a slam dunk. He's driving to the hole, and Nancy just came up and knocked that shit out.
So a lot of what we discuss here is personality based. Like a lot of the subjects we discuss are personality based. I remember during the debates of the previous election, people walked away feeling like he bullied Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
And while she tried to maintain a very professional aura, it was viewed as weakness. If somebody comes at you a certain way, you should come at them a certain way.
Yeah.
So what stands out to me here, we talked about superheroes a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
A few episodes ago, is Nancy's got an S on her chest.
That's right.
Like, she's so unafraid.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wanted to ask you is, what do you think was the tipping point? Like, there've been a lot of actions or theatrics or situations during this tenure that some would call impeachable.
Right.
What do you think was the tipping point?
All right. That's a great question. I have to go between the legs on this one. And the only reason why I'm crossing over and crossing back over on you is because this is a step back shot. So Nancy Pelosi, first
Are you
of
shooting
all,
it with your right hand or your left hand?
I'm shooting it with my right hand, but I crossed over with my left.
Got you. Okay.
So Nancy Pelosi, first of all, is incredibly underestimated in terms of her power and the fact that she will tear you apart. People make fun of the Democrats. People love to listen to the Republicans bluster about Nancy Pelosi and Charles Schumer, being these...
Don't lose your thought.
Yeah.
But remind me about this. I want to ask you later. Do you think people make fun of the Democrats because they feel the Democrats have not properly groomed someone?
Successors or leaders?
Right. And I asked that question because it seems like they're scrambling to find. Now, I'm not saying people are not qualified. I'm talking
Right.
about image.
Yeah.
But finish your thought. I just wanted to just throw that out there.
That's a great question, and we'll get to that because this leads in that direction. So the issue is that people underestimate Nancy. First of all, she's this, frail-looking little woman. She's not a big woman. She's not an overpowering woman. She's not an impressive woman from a physical stature standpoint. But she is near 80 years old, and she is the most calculating, cunning power broker there is. And you make a mistake, this woman will rip your ass apart. You want to talk about the definition of a lioness. If you don't have respect for Nancy Pelosi and what she puts up with to get where she needs to be and how she brokers deals, people forget. Nobody liked her. Nobody wanted her to be the Speaker of the House, right? Pat, who's the Speaker of the House? You understand?
Yes, basically, the door wasn't open. She kicked it down.
That's exactly right. So the definition of the word bitch in the dictionary has a picture of Nancy Pelosi with a lion's mane around her, because people forget that the male lion is not the one that goes out and hunts. It is the female lion.
So the killer shit is, this is why our inbox is overloaded.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to be alarmed at what you just said. He meant it as a compliment, people.
Yes, that's it. It's 100%. It is a compliment, but, if you don't like the fact that I called Nancy Pelosi a bitch, I guarantee you, go ask Nancy Pelosi if she thought it was a compliment, and she'll be like, yeah, goddamn right. Anyway, moving on to the point of this and where it's going is the fact that she literally waited in the tall grass, watched this dude, watched his movements until it wasn't that he made a mistake. It was the fact that he made numerous mistakes.
So I think being strategic and purposeful is very indicative of intellect.
Yeah.
Okay? So as you indicated, it wasn't random.
No.
And it wasn't emotional.
No.
It was perfect timing.
Exactly.
Now, with a crystal ball, how do you see this playing out? And I asked because people see me in the street, here, there, and I get asked all the time, particularly in the last few hours, do you think he's going to get impeached?
Right.
And some people cannot stand him, but are so afraid of Pence taking over.
Right.
That they rather him be smeared, embarrassed, labeled, but they don't actually want it to go through because they don't know what they're going to get.
Right.
Because
right.
they feel that Pence is intelligent enough to not be so overt.
Right. Right. And this is where we're going to get into next year in the general election. And people are going to have to choose whether or not they're going to fade away or they're going to face rejection. So, here's the thing about it. I actually don't care about whether you like or dislike Donald Trump. I really don't. And I don't care who becomes the next president because, again, I've watched enough of this to know that the president is just a figurehead anyway.
30 days after each president takes office,
yeah,
they ask them, what have you learned in your first 30 days? When they asked President Barack Obama, he said, in the first 30 days, I learned that there are people far more powerful than the president.
That's correct.
You are essentially a figurehead.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say you're not important. I'm not taking it that far. But these houses?
Yes.
This is where the power's at.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, do you know who the coolest character in the room is in all of this? Mitch McConnell.
Speak on it.
So, all of this is going on, and nobody's talking about Mitch McConnell. And this is a dude that has to hold the Republican Party together. And no matter what President Peach Fuzz does, this dude seems to have everybody calm. Their nerves underneath the jackets are on edge because this guy, in the White House, says anything that comes to his mind, tweets anything that comes to his mind. He is so volatile that, again, if you like to play it steady, this guy makes you very uncomfortable. Mitch McConnell doesn't flinch. So even with Nancy going up and saying, all right, I've had enough, it's time for us to remove you from power, Mitch McConnell's kind of like, all right, show me you can do it.
So, regardless, I asked you about the crystal ball and where you foresee this going because regardless of the results,
yeah,
I think the presentation, like how she went about doing it,
yeah,
I just think it evoked a feeling of power and strength.
That's exactly right.
So, the presentation, like,
no, it was
the
awesome.
The look in her face.
To me, the reason why it was awesome, remove political party from this. Let's get down to good old-fashioned caveman ethics. You're talking about pure, unadulterated human personality. You have a woman who is head of the United States Congress. She is the most powerful woman on the planet in terms of legislative power. And she literally stood in front of the American people and said, enough is enough. It's time to stop this circus. So you take that, you decide what to do with it, but I'm telling you that takes ice in your veins, a heart of steel, and a killer instinct that very few people are born with.
I'm glad you phrased it that way. You didn't say very few women are born with. Very few people
That's
are
right.
born with.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back. And when we come back, Pat,
more fadeaways and rejections.
we're going to talk about some weak game and some fake alpha males.
Fun and truth all day.
All right, we're back. This is Fun and Truth in Black and White with Pat and Jay. Pat, we have a couple of big announcements. Important that people know that next Thursday, October 3rd, we're going to be live at Minibar, 482 Court Street in Brooklyn, baby. DJ Mikey Palms is going to be spinning. We start at 9 p.m. Minibar, 482 Court Street in Brooklyn. The second big announcement, tickets just went live.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
We got to do this the right way.
Excuse me.
If you like to drink and laugh and hear fun and truth, and if you like music, good music, bring your ass to the Brooklyn Minibar. That's how we're talking about it.
All right, next time you do that, just say, yo, pull up that shit. All right, so yes, next Thursday, October 3rd, if you like to drink, laugh, have a good time, hear some good jokes and some great music, come join us at Minibar. Pat, if you like to smoke, next April, 4/20, it's actually going to be the weekend 4/18, 4/19, Green Planet Jam at the Green Kingdom.
Why does the date 4/20 ring a bell?
You tell me, besides the fact that is the world's honorarium to smoking weed.
That's exactly what it is.
That's why it's called Green Planet Jam. It's going to be 2 days at the Green Kingdom. The Saturday is dedicated to a business and job expo, obviously in the weed industry and agribusiness. The Sunday, the 19th, is dedicated to just having fun at the Green Kingdom. Light your pipe and get lit.
Drink, laugh, be merry, smoke, learn a lot, meet people, network.
Will we be having a live podcast?
Hell yeah. And if you don't smoke, you will off of contact. So.
There you go. All right, Pat. So,
Jay, who's got game? Let's cut right to it. Listen.
Besides me?
We're not going to get into that right now because there's no hoop here. I don't have any high tops, play some ball. But seriously, who's got game, Jay? There's fadeaways, there's rejections, things in between, crossovers, boxing out, positioning. Who's really got game? So
let me intersect you on this one. I'm gonna cut you off because I want to get our audience to understand that game in this capacity, we are now talking about kicking game and
maintaining
your game. But I'm going to use a quote from Michael Jordan, which is one of my favorite motivational quotes, in which he said, when you step on the court, you better be ready. Because if you're not ready, I'm going to dominate you.
Same thing in relationships. So my biggest thing is the word bitch. It's overused, overblown. So thing about it is, the connotation is that it's referencing women. I'm here to let you know that a lot of dudes behave like bitches.
Okay.
Like, it's an understanding in our society that a woman can be a bitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's acting like a bitch today.
Now I have to step in on this because we just talked about Nancy Pelosi being a bitch. We were talking about
it can be a compliment.
Aggression standpoint.
Correct. It can be a compliment.
This is from a weak,
overly emotional, antagonistic,
submissive
in some
but
cases.
not submissive in a respectful submission. Submissive
as in a doormat.
In a doormat,
right?
Position.
So the two people in this room, I know we don't speak like that.
Yeah.
But it's a very overused word.
Agreed.
So let's look at the opposite side. When dudes act like bitches.
You know what? I have to step in on this one more time and say that in this case, what we mean by the word bitches is something that was quoted on MSNBC, CNN, but it came from Fox News, the wussification of America.
Hands down. So here we are, and let's put out a couple of examples of
the wussification. Give it to me, bro.
Wusses, suckers, bitch-ass dudes, whatever. We touched on this a few episodes ago, but I'll bring it back up again. So your partner makes more money than you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're such a punk that you view that as a genital measurement.
Right.
You're not happy for her.
No, because you're too busy swinging your own sword.
And the thing is, maybe you should suck on your own sword. Because no one else is going to do it, you sucker. Like, seriously. Another example. Let's say these good-looking dude, right?
Right.
Successful.
Yeah.
Handsome, good-looking, well-dressed, blah, 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 blah. He has all the confidence in the world until another good-looking, successful, confident dude walks in the room.
Okay.
He's a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Because game respect game, right? If you have it together and you're confident and you're attracting women and you see another dude that happens to be getting the same kind of love, salute that man or ignore that man.
Right.
But don't be angry at that man.
That's right. Don't be hating on him just because he's doing his thing.
Come on. And if that day he bests you, if the chick you're talking to or the person you're talking to takes the drink you bought them and you go to the restroom and you come back and he's dancing with that chick or that person wasn't yours to begin with.
All right, let me dig in on this a little bit with you. So let's say that you are, at the club or at the bar, and you buy this woman a drink. You're having a nice conversation with her. You get up to go to the bathroom. You come back. She's dancing with this dude. What's the proper reaction?
Let her live.
Okay.
I don't. But buying a woman a drink is not ownership. Now, could it be perceived as disrespectful, or could you feel played in that situation? First of all, if your game is tight, when you go to the bathroom,
right,
the most she'll do with this person is a friendly two-step.
Right.
And she will tell him goodbye and come chill with you when you come back.
So again, from the standpoint that she's not yours to begin with, obviously, you're in a competitive environment, and if she decides that she wants to go out there and dance with somebody, wouldn't you use that as an opportunity to observe her and evaluate not only who she is, but what she's like? What are some of the things that the guy's doing, so that you can kind of pick up on what makes her, go a certain way?
Or
yeah,
you talk to somebody else.
Okay.
Because her dancing with someone doesn't have to mean anything.
Right.
It could just be a song she liked.
Right. And because it is a competitive environment, maybe she's inviting you to do that because she wants to see how you react. Exactly.
Okay. But the worst thing, here's what you don't do. So now we're putting on our sucker hat, right?
Right.
This punk dude.
Right.
You throw a temper tantrum.
He's going to pout. Exactly.
She comes back over. Hey, I love that song. And you're like, why don't you go back and talk to that other guy? What you over here for?
Right.
Now, she's like,
You a bitch.
punk.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, look, man, I just think dudes are so quick to judge, question, and criticize these ladies out here. Half the time, you're acting like a punk, bro.
Right. And okay, so let's use another example from the standpoint of meeting a woman and picking her up. You know, a lot of guys come with this game where it's almost like they're anticipating rejection to begin with. So they'll buy the woman a drink and assume that that is a open calling card to have a conversation with them about themselves. Now, I can't speak for women because I'm not one, but I've heard from enough women that one of the things that is a turnoff for them is that a guy buys them a drink and immediately comes over and starts talking to them about his job, his car, his house, how successful he is. And again, they can't even enjoy the drink at that point.
So, Jay, pass me the ball.
You got the rock, baby.
All right. First, the rejection angle. That one's a little bit, it has some validity because from the time a girl is like 13, other than men in their family, or
and sometimes men in their family,
unfortunately, but other than bloodline or homosexuals,
right?
Every man's trying to sleep with them.
Yeah.
And women are walking around thinking, "Oh, he's just a nice." Listen,
man,
that person is
Chris
not
Rock
helping
said
you
it best.
study.
You want some dick?
That woman is not that guy. That guy's not helping you put up your blinds.
Yep.
Because you're cool and because you can play spades.
Right.
All right. Let's just not even get into that right now.
He's not picking you up from the train station.
Right. So whereas men, generally speaking, for every 1,000 girls you ask for their number,
right,
you're gonna get like a few hundred numbers. Like you're not getting all 1,000, right?
Well, that's dependent on your game too.
True story. Now, but let's talk about these dudes that lack personality. So let's say take the buff dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna give them a news flash, Jay. Women can tell if you're muscular, even if your clothes aren't an extra medium. Like, you don't have to wear your son's
medium.
Yeah, like you don't have to wear your son's t-shirt. Women can notice. Number one, but the buff dude,
right?
He feels all he has to offer is his body.
Incredible.
So he's like,
status.
I'm gonna buy this shirt that fits like a tattoo.
Right. Yep.
I'm gonna walk in here and I'm gonna like bend my arm to point to the bathroom.
But you're not the color green,
all
so
right.
You're still.
Then there's the dude who's corny, never got any girls his whole life.
Right.
Now he's making $300 a year.
Right.
Okay, a year, and he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna drop my business card on the table.
Right.
And act like it fell by accident.
Right. Right.
And discuss what I do for a living and how great I am.
Yeah.
Then there's the dude that's like, well, I have no game. I'm really insecure. Let me drop the keys to my car on the table.
Right.
So that she can see the insignia of what I'm driving.
Yeah.
All of this. And then there's the guy that comes over with none of that. And he makes her laugh.
Right.
And you wonder why she turns her back.
On all three.
Ignores the hell out of those dudes.
Right.
And talks to the guy. And instead of talking about himself, ask her what she likes. And ask her what she's into.
Right.
Ask her where she works, what her aspirations are. Or even ask her what kind of ice cream she likes.
Right.
So they can do that the next day.
Right. And so this gets into one of the finer points of the fadeaway too, as well, which is the fact that if you come with the right game, whether or not she rejects you, it's not a rejection. Because your game wasn't about getting in her pants. Your game was simply about stimulating her mind. And by so doing, even if she's like, no thank you, I got a man, or no thank you, I'm not interested right now, you also know that's only for tonight. Because she may wake up the next morning and she's got your number. She may text you. She may call you. It might be a week later, whatever.
You might run into her again.
That's right.
We live in New York. Planes, trains, automobiles, dollar vans.
You never know.
You will run into somebody again in the least expected place.
So if you handle it correctly, that fadeaway shot, you might sink it, you might miss it. But even if you're rejected, if you handle it correctly, you didn't miss.
So there's game in handling rejection.
That's right.
And the thing about the fadeaway shot, there's two kinds of fadeaways. There's I'm fading away because I've practiced this shot and I can hit it.
That's right.
There's I'm fading away because I don't have the ability to do anything else.
And there's fading away simply because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to get rejected, so I'm just going to chuck this shit up without even looking at the basket, spinning away and hoping it comes somewhere close.
And those are the dudes shooting 10% from the field.
If they're lucky.
If they're lucky.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
We are back, Fun and Truth. Thanks for sticking with us once again. Jay, fadeaways and rejections. What we never talked about is the play design. What leads to the fadeaways and the rejection?
Pat, it's good old-fashioned pickup lines. So what's interesting is that when you first start playing the game, the reason why you need pickup lines is because you don't know what you're doing. And the best part about it is that you don't have pickup lines when you first start the game. You basically are raw, okay? You barely know how to dribble, you barely know how to shoot, you barely know how to pass.
You can't go left.
You can't go left, and you sure as hell can't double pump fake. The best part about it, though, is that that's when women love you. Because you're like a deer in the headlights, you don't know what's going on. However, unfortunately, that's when you get the worst rejection. They knock your shit out off the court. So you develop pickup lines. And pickup lines are like little feints. It's basically learning how to, fake right and go left. That's a pickup line. You're driving to the basket, you know that they're going to come and try and reject your shot, and you basically make a little feint and you get past them. Now, whether or not you hit the shot doesn't matter, because the first thing is at least you got it to the rim, okay? But if you practice enough, if you get good at your game, you build confidence, you realize pickup lines are just a tactic. They're a skill. There's something in your repertoire that you can go to if you need it, but truthfully, you don't often need it if you know your game and you know the court and who your opponent is.
So let me tell you, growing up,
yeah,
old G's would tell me, just talk to her, man. Just talk to her. Like, I'm nervous.
That's right.
They would tell me things like, oh, well, the worst you can say is no. You don't know her. Shoot your shot. All that kind of thing. And then as you build confidence, you buy into that. In the beginning, you don't because you're scared.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I began doing that and had some success. Got a little older, and I used to think that dudes with pickup lines were cornballs. Like,
Right.
I really believed that because my style was different.
Right.
But I've come to realize everybody gets in where they fit in.
Right.
So the best pickup line is just saying hello. For me.
Right.
I feel like I have enough of a personality. We get into a conversation, you will laugh, and it'll be interesting. I may or may not get your number. It may or may not progress, but you're not going to be bored. You'll either like me or you won't. I never really had like a rhythm to my lines or like a go-to line. Something like, I remember I overheard a dude tell a girl, ask a girl, excuse me, are your parents terrorists? She was like, no, why? He's like, because you're the bomb. Like, I've heard the dumbest, we can be here for all night.
Did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
Yeah. Are you from Tennessee? No, why? Well, you're the only 10 I see. Like, I can do this all night. Things like, but again, a girl might laugh. Some girl might fall for it.
I didn't know your father was a criminal. Because you stole my heart?
I mean, so, but for me, I never had the G to do that. So I was like, hey, how you doing? You know, like, like I would comment on wherever we are. We're watching a game or that was what it was for me. And for me, it worked. But for some guys, they, so that being said, but now I realize everybody just does what they feel most comfortable doing.
That's right.
But let's talk about the next thing.
Yeah.
So you're in the huddle. Your coach draws up a play.
Right.
Or your point guard draws up a play.
Yeah.
As the play's being executed, you realize it's not working.
Right.
Like somebody fought through the pick or something occurred where you can't execute the play.
Right.
You have to now change what you're going to do.
Okay, so let me step in and pass me the rock, baby.
Bounce pass.
Okay. So this is where guys don't understand that rejection is a part of the game and that sometimes rejection is the best thing that can happen to you because you're simply adjusting.
And don't lose your thought. A lot of times women, from what I'm told, they're conditioned to reject.
Correct.
Like they may not really mean get out of my face. They might, the last 12 guys that approached them annoyed the hell out of them.
Right.
So their normal defense mechanism is to reject you. So
well,
go ahead.
Only that,
continue.
but if they came with a similar line to you, even though you're coming naturally, the reality is she's like, I heard that shit before.
Yesterday.
Come to me with something new. You don't know that.
All right, so you were saying?
Yeah, so the point is that if you learn to expect rejection, not for the fact that, ooh, you just got your shit blocked.
Into
the bleachers, right. But the fact that, okay, you have to adjust your shot in the game. You have to improvise. You have to adapt. And the reality is that this is part of the banter. When she rejects you, she's saying, come with better shit. So come better to the hole. And, this is a great segue.
Did you say come better to the hole?
Come better to the hole.
Pun intended.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
And better segue is that our episode next week, the title is Go Hard or Go Home. And that is the key to the game, is that when she rejects you, you didn't come hard enough. Remember that, Pat, where does a woman or a man start to get excited?
Eye contact.
There you go. So before anything else, you have to see each other and have attraction. Okay? Tinder exists for a reason. And when you get into this game and you learn it and you understand that love and sex comes down to what is between your ears.
Super fast.
Sex is not about what is between your legs. It is about what is between your ears. And when you get rejected, understand that she is not telling you go away and don't come back. She is saying come with better shit. Raise your game. Go hard or go home. All right, we're back. Pat, that last segment was so good we forgot to tell everybody we were taking a break. I apologize. This is Fun and Truth in Black and White with Pat and Jay, and we were having a little bit too much fun there. We had to just pause.
Too much fun and too much rum.
Too much fun and too much rum. So, once again, October 3rd, if you like laughing, having fun, and listen to Pat and I spit a little bit, and some great music by DJ Mikey Palms, come out to Minibar, 482 Court Street, and come hear us for a live podcast next Thursday, October 3rd. And next April, 418, 419, celebrating 2020 Green Planet Jam. Tickets are now on sale, greenplanetjam.com. You go to Eventbrite, early bird specials. So, Pat, it's time for my I don't give a fuck. And this time I don't give a fuck about evangelists. And I'm going to tell you why.
Preach.
If you wholeheartedly believe something where you're not willing to take any opposite view, any different stance whatsoever, where you're not willing to be open-minded about an alternative, I don't give a fuck about you. My issue with evangelism is you're preaching without consideration to anybody else's viewpoint. You're preaching to the standpoint that people have to listen to you and what you believe in as if it is the law almighty. And the best part about it to me is, why was the law written, Pat?
As a guide.
That's exactly right. Most people think the law was written to tell you not to do something. But we know, as Burger King says, sometimes you gotta break the rules, right?
Do it your way.
Because people did it their way from the beginning of time, and that's why they created laws to say, hey, you know what? Maybe that's not such a good idea all the time. You might get away with it when nobody's looking, and that's on you. But for the general public, we want to create this guidebook of things that you should do and should not do. But when you are an evangelist, you basically are saying that you are Judge Dredd, that you are the law. And things are the way you see them and the way you believe them. And my problem with that is the fact that none of us are that powerful. That's my I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, let me just respond to that. So, my issue with evangelism is they come across like it's about them. It's more, even more so than what they believe in. It's about them.
Yeah, it's 100% right.
And something about being pushy I don't like. First of all, if you want your opinion, I'll either give it to you or I'll ask you for it.
Yeah.
If I want your opinion. You're just going to go, I didn't ask you anything. You're just going to go push up on me and try to force your opinion in my face. Right there, I'm on the defensive.
That's exactly right.
So I don't dig that. You know, and some would call it bullying. I just think it's pushy and it's self-serving.
Yeah. Yeah, you're talking to hear yourself speak, and you with no consideration to anybody else.
And then these same evangelists turn around and ask for $1 or 10,000 of them.
Because it's their time.
Come on, man, get out of here. And that's not to say that your message is wrong, but because of your presentation, I don't even want to hear your message.
Amen.
My PSA.
Hit me with it.
It's going to sound very, very simple, but as fundamental as it is, people don't practice this. Stop shitting on people just because they're different from you. And I guess evangelists do that too, right?
That's
like,
right.
Don't mistreat people just because they are different from you. You see, a difference of opinion is not waging war, right? Like if you and I disagree on something, so what? You don't even, I mean, if you're open-minded, you can hear my side and I can hear your side. But let's say you're totally disinterested in hearing my side and vice versa. I can still respect the fact that you're an individual with your own opinion. You know, I have a real problem with this. And it doesn't have to be that deep. Let's say someone works with their hands. Forget opinions. Let's say you have a neighbor and your neighbor lays bricks for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And you're killing it on Wall Street. Why do you care what he does for a living?
Right.
So, like, there are people who would look down on the other person, like in either direction. The bricklayer might look at the Wall Street person like, you stuffy dude, and the Wall Street guy might look at the bricklayer like, you uneducated dude, and he may not even be uneducated.
Yeah.
But my thing is, until someone asks you for one of your dollars, you shouldn't care how they make theirs.
Yeah.
Unless it's something illegal that is hurting people or somehow affecting you.
You know, Pat, there's a great quote in the basketball world. Don't hate the player, hate the game. And I think what this episode, Fadeaways and Rejections, is really about, and what we hope the listeners get from this, is that it's about respecting the game. And whether you love the game or you hate the game, respect the game. Because, again, it takes an awful lot of practice to be good at a fadeaway. And it takes an awful lot of patience to understand that rejection isn't a bad thing.
And if you are mistreating someone that's different from you, it's more about you than it is the other person.
That's 100%. And yeah, that's something where on both sides of the coin, it's a matter of understanding your position. Again, those guys who are deer in the headlights and have had a woman knock their shit off the court, understand, karma's a bitch. It's going to come around on her at some point in the future. For those girls who are deer in the headlights with some dude, who is going to knock their socks off and take their heart, understand. It works both ways. The reality is we're all learning this game throughout our lives, and it's only a few of us who understand as we get older and appreciate the respect for the game. So we hope we pass that on to you. This has been Fun and Truth in Black and White with Pat and Jay. Again, we'll see you next week live at Minibar. We hope you have a great weekend.
Peace and love.